ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. But we move on now, and tensions between the world's two biggest economies may be easing, at least for now. US President Donald Trump says a fresh round of trade talks with China will be held in London next week. This comes right after Trump's rare phone call with Chinese President Xi Jinping, a move aimed at defusing a long-running tariff war. The president announced the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and US Trade Representative Jameson Greer will lead the US team in Monday's talks. This will be the second round of talks since both countries imposed sweeping tariffs, with US duties on some Chinese goods once hitting 145%. After temporary relief last month, tensions flared again, with Trump accusing China of backtracking on a deal. But in a major development, Trump says Xi has now agreed to allow rare earth minerals and magnets to flow to the US, a crucial point in the standoff. While both sides talk of progress, a final resolution remains uncertain. Let's have a listen in.
No, we're very far advanced on the China deal. We wanted clarification. We had to have clarification. There's a bumpy up there, but we had to have clarification. And that's what we're really having to deal about. We had a very good talk. I talked to President Xi for, I guess, more than 2 hours. We had a very good talk. It's a complicated deal, but it's a deal that's, bring us a lot of money and a lot of everything else. And we get along very well with President Xi and with China.
Well, sticking with China relations, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says Ottawa is taking a first step towards rebuilding ties with China. Speaking on Friday, Carney said his phone call with Chinese Premier Li Qiang marked the start of a process to recalibrate the relationship. Ties between Ottawa and Beijing have been strained for years, and trade talks have been a key point of tension. Carney said China is Canada's second largest trading partner, but farmers and fishers across the country have been hit hard by Chinese tariffs. He also raised the issue of fentanyl smuggling, saying it's a major concern for Canadians. The two sides have now agreed to launch ministerial-level talks on trade and other disputes. Let's listen to those comments from Mark Carney.
This is the start of a process of recalibrating the relationship with China. It's very important that we reopen dialogue with Chinese authorities for several reasons, but I'll focus on a few. They are our second largest trading partner, the second largest trading partner for Canada. We have a number of trade disputes with China. Farmers across this country, fishers across this country are being affected by Chinese tariffs. People across this country have been affected by fentanyl and its precursors. Those are issues I raised directly, and we spoke at length about our concerns there, and have initiated processes, including ministerial level dialogue on trade and other issues. So there are important issues with China that we need to address.
Moving to the Middle East now, Israel's military has confirmed the deaths of 4 soldiers in Gaza as the country continues its intensified offensive in the enclave. Military spokesman Brigadier General Effie Defrin said that the soldiers were killed while operating in a Hamas-owned compound in the Khan Yunis area. According to Defrin, an explosive device detonated around 6 a.m. local time, causing part of the structure to collapse. 5 other soldiers were injured in the blast. 1 is in a serious condition. Here is what he said.
הבוקר 4 לוחמים. סמל ראשון יואב רבר מיחידת יעלם, רב סמל מתקדם במילואים חן גרוס מיחידת מגלן, ושני לוחמים נוספים ששמם טרם הותר לפרסום. ההודעה נמסרה לכלל המשפחות. יהי זכרם ברוך. בנוסף, נפצעו 5 לוחמים. לוחם אחד באורח קשה ו4 לוחמים באורח בינוני. הכוח פעל במרחב ח'אן יונס, במתחם של ארגון הטרור חמאס. בסביבות השעה 6 בבוקר, אירע פיצוץ מטען שגרם לקריסת חלק מהמבנה. זהו ערב קשה. אנחנו משתתפים בצער המשפחות, מחבקים אותן וממשיכים ללוות אותן.
Meanwhile, Israel's army also revealed that it is facing a shortage of over 10,000 soldiers, including approximately 6,000 combat troops. General Defrin stressed that this is a genuine operational need and that the military is taking all necessary steps to address the gap, including moves to conscript ultra-Orthodox Jews into the army. Meanwhile, Gaza's Civil Defense Agency reports that 38 people were killed in Israeli attacks across the territory on Friday. Among the dead were 11 people killed in a single strike on Jabalia in northern Gaza, according to local officials. Staying in the region, tensions are escalating on the Israel-Lebanon border after Israel's defense minister warned that there will be no calm in Beirut unless Hezbollah is disarmed. This comes after the largest Israeli airstrike on Beirut since last year's ceasefire. Israeli jets targeted Beirut's southern suburbs, a Hezbollah stronghold, destroying at least 9 buildings. Israel claims the strikes hit drone factories, a claim Hezbollah denies. Lebanon's president called the strikes a flagrant violation of the ceasefire and urged the US and France to intervene. The Lebanese army says ongoing Israeli attacks are undermining its role in enforcing the truce and warned that cooperation on monitoring Hezbollah could be suspended if strikes continue. Once again, staying in the Middle East, Iran has condemned US President Donald Trump's recent travel ban, describing it as a display of deep hostility towards Iranians and Muslims. The ban, which bars citizens from 12 countries, including Iran, is set to take effect on Monday. Iranian officials called the move a violation of international law and an act rooted in discrimination based on religion and nationality. Meanwhile, tensions between the US and Iran are also escalating over Tehran's nuclear program. Speaking aboard Air Force One, President Trump issued a stark warning regarding Iran's uranium enrichment. Let's listen to what he said.
Well, they won't be enriching. If they enrich, then we're going to have to do it the other way, and I don't really want to do it the other way, but we're going to have to.
What's your latest?
There's not going to be enrichment.
Well, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei rejected any halt to uranium enrichment, calling it against Iran's interests. Diplomacy continues, with Oman mediating a new US nuclear proposal as talks involve Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and US envoy Steve Witkoff. The next days will determine if diplomacy can prevail or the standoff will escalate. Heading back over to North America, Salvadoran migrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia, wrongfully deported from the United States 3 months ago, has been returned to the US and arrested on human smuggling charges. President Nayib Bukele confirmed on Friday that the Trump administration requested Abrego Garcia's return to face these criminal charges. Abrego Garcia, a 29-year-old Salvadoran with a US citizen wife and child in Maryland, was flown back from El Salvador and immediately taken into custody. Attorney General Pam Bondi said he faces charges of trafficking undocumented migrants into the country. Abrego Garcia appeared in federal court in Nashville later that day, and his arraignment is set for June the 13th. He will reportedly remain in federal custody until then. The Trump administration claims Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang, which is an allegation his lawyers deny. If convicted, he will be deported to El Salvador after serving his sentence. Staying with US